Hello, and welcome in to another edition of Tech in 10, the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs football show. From the Ruston Daily Leader, I am sports reporter Matt Belinson, coming to you after Louisiana Tech's 31-23 loss to the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders on a Tuesday night, a rare midweek Conference USA matchup. Want to thank the Northern Louisiana Medical Center for sponsoring Tech in 10 this season. Only got a few games left with these midweek games. The season is wrapping up pretty quickly here. So after tonight, Louisiana Tech only has 4 games left, and want to thank Northern Louisiana Medical Center for sponsoring this video series this season. Boy, there's a lot to get to in this episode tonight, and I don't even think it can be fit into the 10, 11 minutes that I'm usually on here. Bottom line is Louisiana Tech is not in a good place right now. That's my overall takeaway with this team. You knew coming into the year that this team was not going to be a world beater by any stretch of the imagination. I picked them to go 7-5, more than double your win total from last year. I thought they were going to be kind of hanging around the Conference USA contention race. I thought they would make a bowl game, obviously, with that record. As we sit here with 4 games left, that seems to be almost. I mean, it's almost mathematically out of the picture. But just from a feel standpoint, it feels so far away. And this program, there's so many things that need to be fixed, and I don't think it can be fixed over the next 4 weeks. I think it's going to take another offseason of real hard self scouting to figure out what's wrong with this team. There's so many issues you can get to. I mean, and we're going to go through them here in a little bit. You look at penalties. You look at third downs. You look at your quarterback situation again. That seems to be kind of a pick your choosing every single night of who you're going to be. At the quarterback position after a carousel last year. You drop some passes. Undisciplined defenders. On third down, you're not tackling people. I mean, it's just a collection of failure that I can't really put a finger on. Especially after an offseason spent on change and renewal and hope. It's just so. I mean, it's clearly disappointing. I mean, I talked to Sonny Cumbie post game after this one tonight, and it's clear just in his face and just in his reactions to things that he really doesn't have the answers. Now, certainly as a head coach, you need to at this point, but it's clear that the penalty issues, the third down issues, the number of just head scratching moments for this team. I don't even think he understands where they're coming from this group. It's continued to be harp on them that they need to come out faster in these first halves. Okay, well, you trail 17-9 at the end of the first half because not only do you miss an extra point to make it 17-10, which kind of at the end maybe might have cost you with some scoring opportunities there, but that's neither here nor there. And then also in the first half, you get inside the 10-yard line, you decide to pass multiple opportunities, and you have to kick a 23-yard field goal. You don't come away with a touchdown there. There were just so many issues in the first half that it's like, okay, this is going to be the exact same formula. Louisiana Tech's going to play pretty poorly in the first half, and then the second half they're going to figure out a way to get back in this thing and either potentially try and win it or come up short. And obviously it was the same story again tonight. Not as severe as the North Texas or Western Kentucky games where you're trailing huge at the half and you have to just mount this epic comeback to try and even get back in it. I mean, Louisiana Tech, the final score definitely doesn't indicate kind of where this game was in the third quarter and most of the fourth. Middle Tennessee was in control. I mean, Louisiana Tech, I'm going to look at here. I think they were 3 of 13. Yeah, 3 of 13 on third down tonight. Over the last 2 games, 7 of 30 on third down. 3 pre-snap penalties inside the 10-yard line tonight. 7 penalties for 48 yards. It's just a mess. I don't know where this team is falling short. It's clearly a discipline issue. It's clearly something that takes place before the games, kick off. I mean, you can't be that undisciplined week in and week out. I mean, Tech, after this game tonight, I know that they've played some extra games, but coming into tonight, Louisiana Tech was the most penalized team in the country, the second most penalized team in the country, and now after tonight they are, by a little bit of a wide margin, obviously until teams play the rest of the week. But even so, Louisiana Tech's going to finish this week again, the bottom 2 or 3 again. It's just an undisciplined football team. They clearly have not figured out ways to play together for a full entire game. Again, it's a first half where you're playing the 111th defense in the country. You score 9 points. You're 1 of 6 on third down. You just have no answers. And again, Jack Turner was playing decent, I guess, in the first half. Wasn't exactly making, wild throws. He had some nice completions to Cyrus Allen and some, obviously getting the ball to Smoke Harris, I thought. Doing a pretty good job of that. I think that's the key for this offense. You gotta force feed those guys the ball. And then I think the straw that broke the camel's back. Obviously, the first series of the second half, Louisiana Tech needed a score to get back in this game in a hurry. You drive down inside the Middle Tennessee 6 yard line, and not only do you pass multiple times, which again I don't really understand that play calling there. Tyree Shelton is on the season averaging over 7 yards a carry, but you not only pass two of your three times inside the 10 yard line, but Jack Turner throws up kind of an errant ball towards the corner of the right end zone, and is picked off. And then the next series, Hank Bachmeier emerges from the bench after 4 games and tries to will this team back to a victory. I thought he played pretty well tonight. Just all things considered, the circumstances that he's been in. I thought accuracy-wise was pretty good. Had some potential opportunities for some interceptions, but I thought he was getting the ball out pretty efficiently. If there's one thing I think biggest takeaway from Hank Bachmeier's season is that he is a tough SOB. That is just the bottom line. I mean, this offensive line cannot block. It is unbelievable, and Carson Bruno just gets whiffed on a third down play. I mean, I don't even think he touches his guy. And Hank Bachmeier is sacked on third down, in the fourth quarter. It's just unbelievable how much this offensive line cannot block. With not even, I mean, certainly the extra pressure definitely hurts, but sometimes it's not even extra pressure. It's just guys just not even understanding their one-on-one assignments. It's unbelievable, and Hank Bachmeier just gets torched almost every single throw for this team. I think Middle Tennessee might have been called for 2 roughing the passer penalties since Hank came in the game. His helmet was thrown off multiple times. I mean, he's just a warrior back there. And I certainly can understand why they wanted to maybe rush him back in. Or not rushing back in, I should say, after, sustaining that injury against North Texas a couple weeks ago. That dude is tough. Certainly, again, it's in a losing effort, but I think going forward, I can't imagine a scenario where Jack Turner comes back on the field as his team starter. I think the experiment is over. Again, you got to give hats off to Jack for filling it admirably for a couple series and a couple drives, over the last 3 to 4 weeks. But I didn't really see a point where it was like, oh man, Jack just has command of this offense that it's just clearly better than Hank, and you just have to keep him in. Again, there was some moments where I think they stretched the field a little bit more. I thought they got Cyrus Allen a lot more involved since Jack took over, and hopefully, with Hank back in the mix, you like to see that Cyrus will continue to be that in that role. But it's just incredible that there's so many decisions and opportunities, that you want to say are just wasted for this team. Again, I don't know if Hank Bachmeier, if he starts tonight, I don't know if you end up winning this game, just how poorly your defense was playing. Who knows how that game turns out, but certainly I think Hank gives you a better opportunity. And again, I can't imagine a scenario where Hank is not your starter the rest of the year. You got 4 games left to try and make a bowl game, try and salvage something out of this season. I can't see a scenario where Jack comes back in. But again, there's been a lot of decisions that I haven't really agreed with, and we'll see if, Louisiana Tech feels like Jack is their guy, going forward here. But again, I think the experiment's over. I think Hank is pretty much, he has to be your starter going forward. And I think just as you enter in this bye week here, you have to figure out why this team isn't disciplined. It's amazing to me that, again, I know it's the second year of a coaching staff in the grand scheme of things. They're still relatively new at this at Louisiana Tech. But I'm sorry, in today's college football, you brought in all the players that you wanted out of the transfer portal. You kept your staff relatively the same. And the guys are just plain undisciplined. I mean, it's just unbelievable how your defense cannot get off the field on third down. I mean, Middle was 10 of 16 on third down tonight. Again, Middle hadn't beaten an FBS team up until tonight. And you let that team go 10 of 16 on third down against you. It's just unbelievable how undisciplined this team plays. Again, sloppy pass interference penalties. Again, the pre-snap penalties inside the 10-yard line. That's my biggest concern. If I'm Sonny Cumbie, certainly the offense has had its issues, and there's plenty that needs to be worked out there. But if I'm Sonny Cumbie, the bottom line that I have to address with this team is who wants to play disciplined football, who wants to go out there and play clean football for this team. Because frankly, that is what's holding this team back. Again, 3 pre-snap penalties inside the 10-yard line tonight, and 2 inside the Middle Tennessee 5. I mean, that just can't happen. I mean, that's potentially touchdown drives that you're taking off the board. Now, again, after the penalties, I feel like you should still capitalize and be able to score from there. But just going forward, I mean, I don't know how you can continue to roll out some of these similar guys just game in and game out when they're just clearly showing that they're not disciplined. I mean, the numbers don't lie. They're the most penalized team in the country. Again, I know this is my opinion on this video, but again, the numbers speak for itself. You're the most penalized team in the FBS. So clearly that's a discipline issue, and clearly there are players on this team that are not understanding their assignments, that are not focused enough to get the job done. And now again, whether or not you're going to bench a couple guys, whether or not you're going to, figure out ways to, kind of punish them, during the week, during practice, and make them sit and do all this extra stuff. I'm not sure, but something has to be done because right now, Louisiana Tech is playing losing football. Sonny Cumbie literally said in the post game tonight that they didn't deserve to win, and they didn't deserve to win. You can't continue to come out in the first half and play as poorly as you do even without all the the crazy pre-snap penalties and all those other things, you can't continue to play undisciplined football and unfocused football for half of a football game and expect to win. It just can't happen. I don't care if Conference USA is a weaker conference, is potentially the weakest conference in the FBS. I don't care. Louisiana Tech has to figure out ways to come out of the gates faster. And again, I'm not coaching this team. Thankfully, I mean they would be in worse position if I was coaching, but they're just answers that I feel like are just not going to be solved, and it really is a shame because I feel like Louisiana Tech had an opportunity this season to really capitalize on a weaker Conference USA, and with 4 games left, again mathematically, I guess you're not out of the possibility for a bowl game, but when you still have to play Liberty and Jacksonville State on the schedule, I mean those are two juggernauts in the league right now. Liberty's probably contending for a New Year's Six bowl game right now, so the math certainly is a lot tougher. But again, you're not out of it, I guess. But it's just a real shame that Louisiana Tech has not been able to capitalize on what it seemed like a season that was full of opportunity. And I think that's the most frustrating part. Sonny Cumbie even said that we're not here to play close post game. We're trying to get this team to a bowl game. We're trying to get this team to a Conference USA title. With 4 games left, that seems pretty far away. So, again, Louisiana Tech loses 31-23 to Middle Tennessee. The Bulldogs will have a much-needed bye week before returning to Joye Stadium to play New Mexico State in 2 weeks from now. So, again, from the Ruston Daily Leader, I am sports reporter Matt Belinson saying thank you for listening. Have a good one.